Hi, I'm Dina Grimmett. I've been a member of St. Luke's for 40 years now, and counting. I've had different responsibilities at the church. I was a director of religious education there long ago, and when the church adopted Living the Good News, I transitioned to working for Living the Good News during that time and became an editor there. And I've made a big switch. I've become a nurse, and I want to talk a little bit about how I see work at St. Luke's and our prayer at home as being all of a piece. I was kind of lucky in having a thwarted dream as a young woman. I was about 18 and suddenly realized how attractive the Benedictine monastic life was. But I was already married and on my way to having my first child, and it was very clear to me that door was shut closed. And it was great because my whole life I've had this yearning for a certain way of life. In the beginning, I thought, well, gee, I don't want to just be playing at being a Benedictine. But the more I studied, the more I realized the Episcopal Church is a Benedictine church. We were founded out of that tradition. Our Book of Common Prayer is a beautiful compendium of prayer that came from that tradition, and that it was not plain monastic to enter deeply into the prayer and ministry of the church. Benedict himself is not really one of the Desert Fathers. He's the one writing rules for communities. He's the one putting together, how are we going to live together? You can almost take it as a detailed set of notes on the epistles and the book of Acts. Now that we are this community who want to follow Christ, how can we do that? It's telling that he has a chapter devoted to 72 tools of good works, and they're all taken from baptismal instructions to ordinary Christians of the time. I think sometimes we think, oh, missionary work is only for the clerics and prayer for the office. Some priests have actually told lay people that's not for you, which is kind of sad. But actually, if we're a body, any one piece of it might be for us. For me, I was deeply drawn to the daily office, and I still am. I see that as one of the gifts the church has given me, and also one of the gifts the church asked me to offer back to them. When I'm praying morning prayer at home, I'm St. Luke's Church praying the morning office. I know there are others of us praying it too. And even though we're in separate households, we are the morning prayer choir of St. Luke's Parish. My work has changed over the years, and part of that felt very ordinary too in the gospel way. We're called to be Christian. And then to express that Christian life in the world. For a while I was a teacher, for a while I was an editor and writer. There was a time way back in the day when I was a storyteller. Now I'm a nurse, and Benedict's words about how to offer hospitality to others, how to be with the sick, still guide every visit I make. And again, this is the ministry of St. Luke's. By offering this to our community, I'm taking St. Luke's ministry, St. Luke's love, St. Luke's sense of hospitality and welcome into the wider world. But I learn it from St. Luke's. I'm grounded in it at St. Luke's. It's the Eucharist and the prayers and the sermons and the community and the fellowship and all that we have together that makes that work. Sometimes people look back on some of these things with a real nostalgia, saying, well, that was then, or that was for other people. I know Little Gidding is something that has been held up as an icon in the Anglican Communion as, oh, here's this revival of monasticism. But it wasn't. It was a revival of serious Christian household life. There were children at Little Gidding. There were married couples at Little Gidding. There were single and celibate people at Little Gidding. There was the whole ball of wax at Little Gidding. They were a parish as well as a household. They taught the children of their neighborhood. They ministered to the sick of their neighborhood. They held services in a church that had fallen into ruins in their neighborhood. And I think that's part of what makes St. Luke so wonderful. We are deeply interwoven into the community life of Fort Collins, of Northern Colorado. And at the same time, we stand grounded in this bigger tradition. I feel so nourished by that long, large tradition. I feel it just buoys you up. It calls you to joy over and over again. And here we are in the midst of a pandemic that wants to rob our joy. But the gospel and the prayer and the ministry in our communion, our koinonia, our fellowship, it grounds us in joy. It keeps us there. Thank you. I hope you love being a member of St. Luke's as much as I do.